my daughter, right? We have a home here in Sacramento, but we have a home in Atlanta, and we bought that home for my daughters who go to college out there, Clark Atlanta, HBCU. Shout out to all the HBCUs out there. So for the summer, my daughters are at home here in California. So the house has been vacant for most of the summer. And so then one of my daughters decided to um, transition for the fall to go, what is it called? Study abroad. It's called study abroad. She studied abroad out in Thailand. So the house was vacant for another couple months. Anyway, so one of my daughters who still stayed here in California was going down to Atlanta for homecoming. And so I'm in the process. I'm driving her to the airport, to the Sacramento airport to get her to Atlanta. And this was going to be the first time that someone was going to be in the home all summer. She's going for homecoming. So I drop my daughter off. And right when I drop her off, I get a call. And I usually don't pick up numbers that I don't recognize. But something told me to pick this phone up. So I picked it up, answered. It was a woman on the phone. She said, "Can I speak to Chris Haynes?" You know how those calls are. Like, "Can I speak to Chris Haynes?" Like, usually it results in me hanging up right then. But something told me to stay on the phone and let this woman know I am Chris Haynes. So, yes, this is Chris Haynes. How can I help you? I'm your neighbor here in Atlanta, and there have been people inside your home for about 2 or 3 weeks. I'm like, what do you? I'm like, so I'm confused here. So yeah, I'm thinking inside my head. So I'm like, what you mean some people in my home? And I've never talked to the neighbors. Again, I don't stay in that home. I bought that home for my daughters. And from what I know, my daughters never talked about having conversations with the neighbors. So I'm still kind of resisting that this is a real call. So she's like, she said, I'm a realtor. No, I asked her how you get my number. She said, I'm a realtor. And I've been seeing some activity at your house that I know is not you guys. And so being that I'm a realtor, I can look up addresses and look up who they're assigned to. And I was able to find your number. And she said, but anyways, there are people in your house and they're driving your car and they're just been bringing people in. There's dogs in there. And she said, we asked them, one of the guys that were there was there, they're cutting the grass. I'm like, cutting the grass. I'm like, and so I'm like, what's going on? So immediately, I'm getting heated because now, like, and I'm getting concerned because I just dropped my daughter off at the airport and she's headed to Atlanta. And so I'm like, oh, shoot, like, man, what's going on? So anyway, so I was able to basically get in contact with my daughter before she got on that plane. I told her, look, we're canceling that flight. We're jumping on another flight. And she was like, why? And I had to tell her the whole story. She was like, okay, well, why are we going? I said, I'm going because I'm getting these people out of my house. And so I wasn't packed for the occasion. So I go out there and on the whole plane ride there, that's like a 4 or 5 hour flight from Sacramento to Atlanta. So I'm like thinking like how what I'm gonna do, like how I'm gonna get these, So I was in contact with local authorities as when I arrived, I contacted local authorities, Atlanta authorities, and I told them, I said, hey, can you meet me? Can you have someone meet me at my place? I need to get some people out. And I was not familiar with the term squatting. I didn't know what that was. And so the police were the ones that were telling me, "Oh, you got squatters in your house?" It was like I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Okay, well, you'll just have to take them to court." I'm like, "What you mean take them to court?" It's like, "Yeah, well, they'll probably claim that they're renting the space out to someone." I'm like, they're not renting the space out to anyone. I'm the owner. What you talking about? I got the paperwork to show I'm the owner of this house. What you mean take them? I was like, "Listen," I said, "Officers, I'm going to my house and I'm getting them out. Now, y'all can come over there and meet me like I'm asking, like I'm requesting of you, but it's going down tonight. They're getting out my house." So this is like 1 a.m. when I get there. And so they were like, "Okay, we'll come over there. We'll meet you." Because I would, like, obviously, from what I was told, it's like 5, 6 people in that house. And so the cops come out, 2 brothers. So they come out there and they were like, listen, we there's nothing really we can do if they say they're renting this place. I'm like, officer, look, man. I showed them the paperwork that this is my house. I'm like, I didn't authorize and I'm not renting this place out to anybody. And he's like, well, okay, well, we'll knock on the door, see what happens. So they knock on the door and people look, I saw people look, open the curtains. And so a woman comes out and she's pregnant. And I've seen people like kind of leave throughout the back. And I believe it was 2 dudes that probably rushed out the back. Cops didn't go after them, nothing, whatever. So it's 3 women at the door. And they're talking about how they're renting this place. And the officer's like, are you renting this place from the owner? Like, yeah, we're renting it from the owner. And the officer's like, okay, so who car is this? Because remember, I told y'all that my neighbor said that they were driving my car. And he was like, whose car is this? And she was like, well, that's my friend's car. Who's your friend? She wouldn't give a name. And he was like, you sure this is your friend's car? She's like, yes, that's his car. And so I had a spare key that I brought with me from California. I said, it's your friend's car? I said, watch this. And so I tapped on my key and made the car turn on and made the car go off. And then the officer was like, so you saying this is your friend's car while he has a spare key? And the officer asked her, well, how much are you renting to stay a month? We paying $100 a month. I'm like, hold on, man. So I jumped in. I'm like, hold on. Y'all telling me in this 5-bedroom house here in Atlanta, y'all paying somebody $100 a month to stay here, and you think it's legit? And she didn't say nothing. And so the officer pulls me to the side and was like, Chris, I'm sorry. We just, there's nothing we can do. You have to take them to court. And I politely but firmly told the officer, I said, officer, with all due respect, they're getting out my house now. By any means necessary, they're getting out my house now. I don't give a damn if it's 2 a.m. They're getting out my house. And I don't know who's in here, but I got people on the way. I am prepared to defend my household. So, officers, if you don't want to be here while this is going down, that is fine. But if you are going to be here, I'm letting you know what's going down. And so the ladies, like, they shut the door, and I think they went in there. I think a dude was probably still in there because they wouldn't even the officer wouldn't let me even go in the house. And so finally, I'm just like, I just had enough. And so they come out, the girls come out, the women come out. Well, can you give us time? Can you give us a couple days to get out? I said, I'm going to give you 45 minutes to get out. Well, we got a lot of stuff in here. I'm like, that's not my problem. I'm giving you 45 minutes. I said, I'm going to leave, go to my hotel. I'll be gone for an hour. I said, if by an hour, if none of y'all are out of my place, there's going to be problems. There's going to be real problems. I don't care if the police are here. There's going to be problems. Get out my house. So I leave. The cops said they were going to stay there that duration to see that they were getting things out. Everybody, I came back in an hour, and they were just like ending the process of getting everything out. So this is the first time I walk in my house. And remember, so when my daughters aren't home, we're using that place to Airbnb. So we got, it's nice in there, TVs in every room and 5 bedrooms. So we got, all the rooms are, nice to rent the rooms out. Guys, I go in there. My house is tore up. Furniture gone. Dog poop all over the place. TVs pulled out the wall. Mattresses not on the beds. There are pit bulls in a few rooms. One pit bull tried to charge me in my own damn house. I picked up this big old stick. Man, I was about to wear that pit bull out, man. charging me in my own house. When they see me pick up that stick, it ran out the back door. Um, just trash my place. Trash my place. There was they whoever was there, they stole some registers from somewhere. Um, it was just horrible. But anyways, got them out the house, had to change locks, do everything, put alarm systems on. But I say all that to say this squatting rule, this squatter rights. That's what the officers kept telling me. Well, they have squatter rights because there are people who are legitimately duped into thinking that they are actually renting a place from someone who actually owns that spot. And as the owner, the real owner, I can't do anything. And so if I was to just listen to the officers, those people could live in my place. And I was wondering why my bills been so high over there. Man, I went, man, my heat was all up. They had the heat up. They were living comfortable. Well, they were living comfortably nasty, I would say that. But they were living comfortably in my house. Driving my car, they hotwired my car somehow. And I think I'm gonna come up there, and this was a scary part. This is why I was willing to defend my property. What if that neighbor who I thank so dearly for calling me at that time, what if my neighbor didn't call me then? And then I just dropped my daughter off. And she was going to land around midnight, and she gets home around 1. Who knows what she would have walked into? Who knows what would have happened? And I'm stuck all the way in California feeling helpless. So, I told you, like, the name of this headline right here, this story time. Am I tripping? Is it me or is it them? Like, squatter rights? Squatters should have no damn rights. That was my damn house. Anyways, I didn't know anything about squatting, squatter rules, anything before that. It's something I'm still dealing with. It's crazy how people can just come into your place and just set up shop. And the neighbors were telling me, like, they were cutting the grass. So I do appreciate them for doing that. They were cutting the grass. And this was around Halloween time. They had Halloween props, pumpkins all up front. So it looked like somebody was really living there and that was really taking care of the place to make it not look so unusual. So I thank that neighbor, man, for calling me at that time. It's just the perfect time in the call. And I know things could have went bad the way that I handled it, but they were not going to stay in my house another day longer than they already have. That was it. So, I don't know what needs to happen, but these squatter rules, squatter rights, bullshit. So that's that. That's story time with Chris Haynes. Let me know what y'all think. Have y'all ever experienced anything like that? Leave it in the comments. I just, I'm going to use these times after each show to vent, tell y'all some funny stories, tell y'all some stories that may not be too funny, but hey, I'm just going to share and vent and hope you guys get something out of it. Maybe you can learn something from it. Maybe you can take extra precautions like I should have done. We had a complete alarm system installed in the first place. So, that's it. Appreciate you guys for listening. Y'all take care.